Assalamualaikum. We are Team Potter. Today we are going to talk about virtual etiquette. People do all kinds of things bad things in Facebook and other social media. We want to take it stop. So our discussion will follow this route. We'll first do the situation analysis and we'll set a goal that we opt to achieve. Then we understand the market, the people, how to behave, and then give our solution. After that, we give you an overview of how to follow our solution to create a long term. So, the most prominent example of such behavior is the recent incident concerning the Nasir Hossain's sister's picture. So, there was many bad comments, and 2 days ago, just 2 days ago, in the Puja festival of Vikram Kumar Das, there was such comments, such rough comments. So, what we thought that, is this the only one? No. According to research, 69% of the cybercrimes in this country are related to harassment by people who are not necessarily criminals. But surprisingly, they behave in a different way when they are in the virtual media. So we ask this question, that why do people behave differently? Why do people believe for the beginning? That human psychology is such that we first observe and then behave. This observation stage is pretty significantly different in real life and social life. For example, when I was born as a little, I had good things in me and I had bad things. I wanted to do some really bad things, but I couldn't do it. Why? Because the external environment, their social values, their regulations, and their fear of misassociations. So these external environmental factors restricts my behavior, and these factors are absent when it comes to virtual media. So people can go and say whatever they want to say. So this is the basic difference, the external factors. And if we want to make people behave like themselves, not like some evil or criminal, then we have to clean this virtual environment. This is the big understanding here. If we clean the environment, if we set good examples, people will adapt to this environment. So who are in this environment? We cannot put all the traditional segmentation in here. So a virtual segmentation. So whenever such incidents is happening, there are 4 types of people. First of all, the victims. The victims are the people who are being abused. So in most cases, they do not know what to do. They do not know their rights, first of all, and they do not know a credible source of organization to whom they can go and push their everything. Number 2, the good people. So the good people try to protest that, no, this is not right, you should behave otherwise. But they cannot make a difference because it's very difficult. You're communicating with someone, you're not meeting with person. So we have to give them some kind of mechanism. In a constructive way, they can contribute to social life. The observer, approximately 70 to 80% of the population, observes, like me, and don't say anything. Given enough time, if the environment is good, these observers will become vocal good persons. But if this environment sustains, they continually support the bad people and the environment will get further for you. And finally, the people who abuse us will come as bad. And they're a little difficult to understand. So let's make one. In the Vikram Kumar Das's Facebook post, this is not me to say, তোকে একদিন বলেছিলাম এই সমস্ত চলফালতু বিষয় নিয়ে কোনো রকম পোস্ট করবি না, তোদের দুর্গার কোনো অস্তিত্ব আছে না কি এলাকায়? একজন মুসলিমের গাড়ি তার পায়ে একটা পশমের সমান যে উঠলো সেটাও তোদের দুর্গার নেই। So feels like Pakistan or very false back. So who is really? It is a background analysis. So this is Mohammad Vidul. He is in college. He lives at Rajendrapur. It's a simple home, simple life. He likes Quran Hadith and Allah, Shoya Shakti, and also Bangla 50 plus. So it's a normal, average kid. So why do this kid behave in such a way, behave like someone else? We went through his profile. The average likes or impressions in his Facebook profile is 10. But when he made that comment in Vikram Kumar Das's post, it crossed 150. So that is a motivation. Without any negative consequence, you can say anything in Facebook and get away with it. So we need to make these bad people realize there is a line even in virtual world that you cannot cross. And when we are targeting, we have to target at some point all of that. Yes, in the need of the campaign, we'll capitalize maybe on the victim or maybe on the bad people. But if we want to change the environmental change, we have to keep them all in the audience. And what will this campaign look like? It's like this. No, we want to change the environment, but that is a pretty lengthy process. It will take like 5 to 10 years. But the steps are simple. First of all, you need to educate people. This is right, this is wrong, simple. And then you need to set some examples that if you do something wrong, this is what you're going to get. And then you have to rehabilitate people who are currently in the environment. And you have to give them time. No matter how much promotional effort you give, people will need some time to adapt. And then comes the habit building and the integrated digital education. But today we are going to present the first step in this course. This 2-year-long campaign that will focus on education, setting example, and rehabilitation. The name of our campaign is simple: Bachao Internet. It results with our big idea that we have to save the environment. And Bachao Internet, we have to save the internet, is a pretty generic concept. And this is a 2-year-long campaign. The first step is to educate the people. And once you give them education, the second stage is engaging them. Because it cannot be a one-way communication. You have to engage them in the entire process. And finally, in the last stage of our campaign, we have to rehabilitate. So let's start our campaign with...
Before any of this campaign materials can be used, we need to have a body that we can trust, an authority that not only exists in a physical world, but also in a virtual world. For this situation, we have introduced the Cyber Rights Watch. We believe that in this body encompasses people like Human Rights Watch representatives, Cyber Division of Police, and then civil rights societies people. So that these people all have the information and the data about every cyber crime. That they can be the first person you respond to or you go to whenever there's a cyber crime, and these are the people who speak up first whenever there's any kind of attack, so that we can trust in this body and it's a credible source that people fear as well as trust. So the first step would be to make people aware of this body and to educate people on making sure that they can reach out to CRW whenever there's a problem. And the main target for this particular first stage are the women. We understand that most of the crimes that happen online happen to women. They are the people who are in most need of the CRW's awareness campaign, and that's the reason we're going to go for that. And they also make us aware of the kind of stories and the policies we need to implement to help them out. The first promotional idea we have for the flagship event would be to help out certain cybercrime victims, and then allow them to share that particular story on ABC News or ABC Radio and all these radios that already have shared survivor stories. In this way, the first thing that happens is that normal people get aware of the process through which you communicate with the CRW, as well as it acts the promotion of how they help out people who are in need. The second thing we want to do is make sure that the Cyber Rights Watches and every single detail of them, including the support stories as well as the helpline, is in one small loadable page that every time you are offline, for example, every time there is server not found, instead of that, the default page would be the Cyber Rights Watch's information. So that no matter who you are or where you are in the country, you get information about the CRW and you are educated about their proposals.
Stage 2 of the campaign, Bachao Internet, is engaging the mass, and we are going to do so by targeting the observers. The observers are the largest chunk of the segment, and they have a hidden desire to be vocal about the abuse that takes place in the internet. But they don't do it. The main reason behind it is there's a lack of incentives, and there is no visible outcome. What CRW is going to do is to provide them a tool of empowerment. Say, for example, comments like this in the Facebook. What these vocal observers are going to do is to use the hashtag #FlagCRW, against which the monitor team of the CRW will come here and provide a response, a very formal, authoritative response, where they will specify the law under which they have violated and will tell them about the consequences. What will be the reaction of the abuser at this stage? As we have seen in the demographics, these people are not that much educated. They will be afraid. They may remove the comment, but most importantly, the most important part here is that they will know about the CRW and they will be much more responsible the next time they comment.
What are the first impressions of people will have when they understand, when they hear about CRW? They would say that my country has lots of problems, but cybercrime, cyber harassment is not my problem, it's not a big issue. We should focus on something else. But we should not say that. We should change that behavior. We should change that impression. How do we do that? We do that through a TV series. on major newspapers like Kothomala and Daily Star, something like that. You see that there are some censor bars, and through these censor bars you see a peak of a girl or a boy ashamed by the harassment he faced on the cyber world. Right? You turn the page, you see that this is what happens, and this can happen to you. It has happened to the celebrity. It can happen to you. So that's why we say that through this we're engaging people. We're asking them to engage and use hashtag #FlagSeal. Now, what is the biggest congregation of Bangladesh? Where do people go most in Bangladesh? They go to Banijamata. And there we will have a stall. And through this stall, there will be free Wi-Fi, free computers, they can use social media. And there we will show them what is the proper way to use social media. And then we will say the password will be #FlagSeal. They will engage and they will use, and through that they will learn how to use the proper way of using it. Next. Now this is very important. This is an interactive billboard. Now this billboard, you will see a sad girl. And when you comment, Apu, onek dostas, you are very awesome. Or mashallah, and whenever you write something good, you'll see that the girl, the model is smiling. So what are we doing? We're making them practice, write good comments. And through these good comments, you can make someone smile, make someone happy. And that is the greatest feeling of them all. So move on. Rehabilitation. But what are we doing for people who are actually making those bad comments? Are we just saying, outcasting them, we're saying you are bad, you are not part of society, go away? We cannot do that. We may have that effect for some time. We may even say that if you do this, there will be consequences. But fear cannot rule them for a long time. We have to tell them, this is not you. You are better than this. You are better from this. Let's go do that with a TVC campaign. What is a TVC campaign? If you push someone in the real life, what do we do? We say sorry. Sorry, I mean, I'm sorry. But in virtual world, we say that, hey, ETIQUETTE. Who are you? This is the thing. In a virtual world, we're very rude. We're not the real me. So we're going to show that this is not real you. The real you should be portrayed in the virtual world. Now, come to the PTL activation. The PTL activation, we see that the victims, the people who actually commented those bad things that they wrote about Nasir Hussain's sister, they will come, we will locate them and we will take them to Nasir Hussain. We will video shoot the whole thing. And Nasir Hussain, there will be an interaction between Nasir Hussain and the bad comment makers. And they will say, Nasir Hussain will say, Nasir Hussain won't attack them. Nasir Hussain will say that this is not, you see, you made those bad comments. What has happened? My sister can't go to Facebook anymore. They cannot write anymore. They're afraid. They're harassed, right? This is not good. And this whole thing will be video and it will be shown on YouTube and social media and our pages. And this will be shown that this writing these bad comments may have generated 50 likes or 150 likes. But this has hurt some people real bad. Now the last idea, if you see that, there will be a screen and there will be bad comments like this. So these are comments. You see these comments and people will be asked, what do you think of the person? How will it, and your result, the people may say that this is how he looks. Some rude, bad person. Now this picture will be shown to the people who actually, to the person who actually made those comments. And we say, look, this is the image that you are portraying to people. And this is not you. This shouldn't be you. You should change it. Now this concludes the whole our marketing campaign process. Now we will see the working and evaluation phase.
The evaluation takes place in 3 phases, and towards the dying down of the promotion phases, the evaluation will be taken to include the insights for the future subsequent campaigns. As we can see, the monitoring will take in both qualitative and quantitative aspects, and our budget for the campaign is 7.1 million, and the total cost per reach is Dhaka 4.79. So what we are left with is that we are going to create one umbrella under which all the campaign would be designed, and each would have the central authority. This is the CRW, and this would educate the users and create a model where people won't abuse in the internet anymore. And the data and the insights that we get from this CRW campaign, the hashtag especially, we're going to use that in order in designing the future processes and future campaigns. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. I have just one question actually. Everything else is dependent on that. At the very beginning present that there are no external factors present for these behaviors. These behaviors are happening because there are no external factors. But throughout your presentation, you have actually stated a few external factors. For instance, the need for recognition, which is not present in their real life. That's what motivates a lot of them. In fact, I disagree on that particular notion that there are no external factors present. May I ask you? So let me phrase that question first. I haven't stated any question. So, if there are any external factors present, what are those? And does your campaign answer to those external factors as well?
First of all, I think there is a discrimination. There are no external factors to limit their behavior. And if there are external factors, for example, why make that call? Because I think about my reputation and the business grad, my reputation is very much related to my social media. Those are not present in there. So what I'm saying that in real life we have some common external factors. Like I can relate, you can relate, and a guy from another campaign. But in social life there are no common external factors. There are no social values and legislations that can limit their.
You were moving away from the question. My question was, are there no other factors? I did not talk about limiting factors. So what about motivating factors? What is motivating them? There are motivating factors that are present. My question to you is, are you answering to those motivating factors? Is your campaign answering to those motivating factors?
Of course.
So what are these motivating?
First of all, the first motivation factor is feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
That's number one. We are seeing in the motivation phase. Number two is that you will not be harmed. That is a motivational factor. Number three is that
Alright, so how are you taking care of this?
okay, the first one that they want to feel good. In the reality phase, we showed them that this is not real you, this is the real you. Maybe you are getting an instant life, but think about the long time aspect. And number two is
That's
that
your rehabilitation phase. That's stage 3.
Okay. And the first thing that you will
Moving
need
forward further, that would have been much better. That would have been much better if you just catered to what are the motivating factors, what are the negative factors, and if you could show us a campaign which caters to all of those things in a much shorter time span. Because if you think of those factors, you can actually cater to them in a lot smaller time spans. So, let's see that.
I mean, it looks very dramatic and it looks that it's going to be dire. A very negative idea. Can you go for some better option?
The reason why we wanted to go for something that's really dramatic is to show that cybercrime can affect people very greatly. We think that at this point in time, Bangladesh is moving so fast when it comes to cyber use, in terms of mobile use and everything, that they're not considering the impact of the things that they're saying. So in order to make sure that the impact on victims as well as the change in mentality of the perpetrators is understood, we're going for something that everyone can relate to. Bata internet is something that's not too sophisticated, something that the majority of people can sort of relate to and understand. We need to save the internet. It's in a great situation. If we don't fix that now, we can't.
But I think something more specific and more realistic. And honestly, Bachao Internet, it feels like, I mean, as I said, I have one more observation. I want to actually explain that because the refer to the English mention in more detail and what are the consequences one he or she like to face if he is, there was an ICT Act 2006 and what is the punishment and the
first of all, we are not really.
I understand you have mentioned once, but
This is in our appendix, sir. We wanted to answer that question.
yes, this is okay.
So there's extensive laws already, and our Minister Inu has already said in October 17, a few days back, that there will be more extensive laws regarding this. So hopefully we have everything covered by that. So we hope that we wanted to relate the laws to these people before we.
I have a last question. I mean, you have mentioned some examples, like to educate the bad people. If you mentioned for the bad people, observer people. They may learn something and they show the people that many people they like to pick up the bad words, bad sound, and they like to imitate it. So maybe, yeah, my suggestion is that maybe you find some kind of activity, no to bad words, not doing okay. I mean, if you really, I don't feel embarrassed and so many activities.
Our purpose was to give you the real picture so you can understand that. But of course, we are not going to communicate this many bad words, this is the sense. So when you go to the media, but since we are talking,
I mean, this is the problem with advertisement. And why they advertisement when they say, okay, Bhabhi, something like that. Okay, girl feels very embarrassed. Why you put this word Bhabhi in an advertisement? I mean, you are technically elevating the bad people. I mean, why some girl is passing it, then he is likely to be called Bhabhi. Like, then it's not right. I mean, as an accident,
thank you for that.
বই ফেসবুক নাই তাহলে কি আমরা ইন্টারনেটে আমাদের যে মানে আমরা তো দেখলাম যে ফেসবুকেই ফেসবুকের বাইরে কিন্তু প্রবলেম আমরা এই আলোচনা করছি
I think যেটা বলতে যাচ্ছেন এটা হচ্ছে ওরা যেটা বলতে যাচ্ছে লাইক সোশ্যাল মিডিয়া এনি সোশ্যাল মিডিয়া উড বি আলাউড
না
এনিথিং দ্যাট লেটস ইউ ইন্টারেক্ট
না এই বাইরে তো যে ভিডিও আছে এর বাইরে কিন্তু অনেক স্কোপ আছে অনেক কিছু আছে আস্তে আস্তে এটা মাথায় রাখলে এটা বোর্ড একটা অংশ আচ্ছা আরেকটা বিষয় হচ্ছে যে বাঁচাও ইন্টারনেট এটা খুব বেশি রেলেভেন্ট মনে হচ্ছে ইন্টারনেটে বাঁচাতে কতজন চাই এটাকে একটু অন্যভাবে বুঝে যদি বলতাম যে আমরা ইন্টারনেটে সব বাঁচা করি বা ইন্টারনেট সব বাঁচাও ইন্টারনেটটা মনে হয় ইন্টারনেট একটু যেমন হচ্ছে
আমরা বুঝতে পারছি যে এটা অনেকখানি গ্রামার বাঁচানোটা একটু গ্রামার বেশি করা আমরা যখন ডেটা পাই তখন আমরা একটু রিসার্চ করি এবং দেখলাম যে বাংলাদেশে এত সমস্যা যে ইন্টারনেট যে আপনি কি বলতেছে এটা নিয়ে মানুষের সমস্যা মনে করে
নিজেকে বাঁচা করি
নিজেকে বাঁচানো বলতে স্যার আমার পার্সোনাল কথা এখন মানুষ যদি স্যার ইন্টারনেট কথা না রাখতাম মানুষ একটু বুঝতে সমস্যা তো এটা কি আমরা উইমেন এম্পাওয়ারমেন্ট করতেছি নাকি হিউম্যান রাইটস করতেছি ইন্টারনেট বিষয়টা
আচ্ছা আরেকটা বিষয় যেটা হচ্ছে যে মানে প্রশ্ন না আবার আপনারা ভাবছেন যে আমাদের দেশে গণমাধ্যম তারা কিন্তু কোনো রকমভাবে এই ধরনের অসংখ্য আচরণ করে এটা হচ্ছে যেমন ইউনিভার্সিটি থেকে বললো বা আপনাদের বাংলা শুরু হলো এটা কিন্তু যখন কেউ একজন শেয়ার করে তার ফ্রেন্ড সার্কেলে দেখে একজন এটা যখন কোনো একটা বড় পত্রিকা বা নিউজ হয় তখন জিনিসটা কিন্তু আলোচনা আমাদের সমাজ
those can be part of it. Probably not be kind of issue. Make it, I think if you really want to make it, it's a real problem, then those should be coming. Not like a personal, take action, do nothing else. You know, this is very serious. Perhaps when you talk to Bangladesh, when you talk to people like that, someone is class, because the girl is, she's working on this with someone class account. Normally people don't think it's fine. You go offline or online, you can pass them and take to a girl. But I think big those kind of like Ramu said, just from one some people comment, the whole the advertisement and those should have come. We have not really way to focus to guide them.
Sir, sir, the thing is that we have to deal with this code. As in like one behavior. If I understand that I can data when I say anything, this will encourage me to do larger things, bigger comments. So that's why we focus on individual persons, individual comments that you should do. So if
That's right. I got that if you really want to make something, usually it's not able to get a lot of saying for cash. Because people is something the problem is when you go and tell people the internet is getting a hard to do. So Rasta hard to do, not the better. So this is not a problem. But if it's like a riot, you can do look like a riot, something like that. So Bangladesh globally it's not taking this is not a country. then this
That is definitely.
I actually have two comments. One is that in the entire presentation that I've said, it seems like you're focused more on the after effect. This is like the end result, you're trying to modify that, from the three stages of your engagement, engagement, rehabilitation. How do you really focus on the main factors that affects a person to become cyberbullying, even in your mind, where she might be a very nice sort of person on the real life. What's the anonymity? And second is basically lack of actionable there are actions that you can take to make sure that the corrective behavior is goes on. You have missed out, from my opinion, you have missed out the cause part and how you have specifically mentioned how you take how you create your awareness campaign in a way that affects the behavior at the root. The way you are doing it is kind of more like you're trying to rectify the after effects. That one. The second comment would be on the internet charges. It's like safe internet based on the current social construct and economic conditions that we have. Safe internet as a tagline for your campaign, effectiveness and not the future of how effective that is. People have so many other pressing issues that we need to take care of. Saving the internet as a tagline, if it asks me, it doesn't really give me a clear picture of what I'm supposed to do. So you have missed, to me, you have missed actually out to how you affect the root causes that generates that encourages people to come up with this cyberbullying across the forms on the social media, SMS, even on the social instant messengers that we have seen. The second has a tagline of including problem. So you comment on that? Feel free. Definitely had a reason why you had that.
I think I should repeat the last one. First, the first one, prevention. I understand it's more than prevention. Sir, in the first stage, the immediate campaign, there was material that loadable age, and there, in that section, education section is basically sharing the cyber rights of people. That is based on the victims and also the other victims. So we have to share the roots and regulations first. If we want to motivate them, if we want to say that this is the prevention mechanism, there was a section like prevention mechanism, how to maintain your security and to whom to say this kind of things.
That, in effect, is what I just said. You're focusing more on the end results. Not on the softer part that could come in the first phase of your campaign.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks.
Thank you.